Hello, everyone. Good to see everybody. Me too. Good morning. So I just want to give everyone a second to connect. But those of you that are here, please make sure to like and subscribe to our page so that you can get the constant science content to you at home every day. Because we'll be posting every day at 10:30 and at 3 p.m. so that you can get awesome stuff to do at home and awesome science to learn all the time. Good morning. Awesome. Well, good morning, everybody. If it's all right, I'm going to start talking. So, again, hello. Hello. But again, my name is Matt, and I'm a guest engagement specialist at the Great Lakes Science Center. And we are closed for the health and safety of all of our guests, patrons, and staff. But we want to bring our awesome science content to you guys every day from home. So remember, tuning in at 10:30 and 3 every day. But today, I'm quite excited to be talking about water filtration. Water filtration is a pretty awesome thing that our friends at the Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District use every day. And if you're curious for any of their information, go to NEORSD, that's NEORSD.org, for awesome science stuff that they can share, and then more information about how they help protect our water. But we're talking about water, and we're talking about water filtration. And do you know that there's two main systems that our friends at NEORSD deal with? And that's our wastewater and our stormwater. So wastewater is the stuff like stuff that goes down the toilet, stuff that goes down the drain in the shower, or any kind of sink, or anything that we assume is going to be full of waste. The stuff goes into our wastewater system with the Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District. And they have wastewater treatment plants where they can filter and process that water to protect it from going back out into any sort of environment to make it gross. So there's another type, though. That's stormwater. And I want to talk about that stormwater, but before I do, I want to just ask you to think about all the things that are on the ground outside, like literally the whole ground. The grass in between the street and the sidewalk where there's all the dog poop, the sidewalk, the street itself, the parking lots, all that stuff. We just want to make sure that you think about that for a sec. So what is all that stuff? How much stuff is there? And then let's think about where we are in Northeast Ohio. And that's Lake Erie. Lake Erie's like right next to us, and we rely on it for all of our fresh water, as do all of the animals and fish that live around and near it and in it. So let's think about this for a sec. Let's talk about this as Lake Erie. And Lake Erie is a freshwater source. This isn't this, it's just water. So I'm going to fill it up with a bunch of fresh water. So I've got some fresh water in here. And now let's think about those storm drains again. So we've got storm drains on the ends of roads and parking lots, outside parks, and all these things collect stuff like this. Collect stuff like dirt, sticks, a little bit of trash. All this stuff gets caught up in the storm drain. So we get this, and then there's other pollutants that you might not think about, like motor oil from a car. And I'll simulate that using vegetable oil. So all these things run into our storm drains and then rush off directly into Lake Erie. That doesn't look real nice. That looks pretty nasty. So I don't know about you, but this doesn't look very safe to drink. So I know that there are things in water like this, especially in our storm drain systems, that we can see that are gross. But if you look here, you can see I have these 3 containers. These 3 containers only share water, and otherwise everything is different. So when I'm talking about water, I want to think about the pH scale. So pH is just like the balance on a scale of acidity and basic. So when we have something that's really acidic, we think about like citrus juice or vinegar. And then you think about basic stuff. Think about like milk or even flour. So all these things are the opposite ends of one spectrum. And then in the middle of that spectrum is neutrality. And neutrality is fresh drinking water. So that's what we have right here. And I know because I mix these solutions. And in this solution here, in this small little beaker, we have clean drinking water. But I don't know about you guys. It looks pretty much the same as all three of these. So I've got my clean drinking water. But then in this one, it looks nice and clean. But it's actually baking soda and water. So the baking soda has diluted in the water, so I can't see it. But if I drank it, it'd still be gross. And then we have this one. And this one, if you might notice, looks a little bit more cloudy. Still looks like clear water, though. But this cloudy one has a very high salinity. And salinity is the measure of how much salt is in water. So with too much salt, it can be gross and uncomfortable, too. So even though I sprinkle a bunch of salt on my French fries, I don't want to be drinking salt water. Because with too much salt water, it can actually dehydrate us and make us really uncomfortable. And that goes the same with everything that lives in Lake Erie. If you took a freshwater fish that lives in Lake Erie and put it in salt water or just in the ocean, it wouldn't be okay. It would not thrive because there would be too much or too high of a salinity for it to be okay, just like us if we tried to drink it. So we now know that there are things that we can see that are nasty and things that we can't see that we also don't want to ingest. So what do we do about that? How do we deal with all these invisible pollutants and these visual pollutants? How do we get them out of our water? And that's why we turn to our friends at the Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District, because they use water filters every day. And now a water filter is just something that separates water from the things in it that we don't want to consume, like all of our dirt and trash and too much salt or sodium chloride or too much baking soda or just gross oil from cars. So all these things need to be separated, and you can do so with really small spaces. So water can actually slide through smaller spaces than other things. So like if you put water in your mouth and you could like squeeze the water through the cracks in your teeth or the cracks in between your teeth. So, but with that, water can do that with things more produced, like a filter. So if I had something like this, which is just a pop bottle with the bottom cut off and a container for the water to go to, I have a water filter already on its way being created. So what I want to do is I want to filter as much water. So I have first in this pop bottle a coffee filter, because the tiny holes in the porous material of the paper will act as a good last filter for the water to go through before I want it to be clean. And otherwise, for my other small holes for the water to slide through, I'm going to try a bunch of this sand and rocks. So I'm going to put a bunch of these in here. And make it so they're not going to come out of the water. And now I've got them all into that coffee filter. So I've got all this rock, sand, and stuff that isn't like real porous, that can't dissolve, stuff that has holes that the water can slide through. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this water filter that I've just made and pour my gross water into it. Now, if you notice, it takes a second for it to pass through. So I'm going to do this whole thing all at once in a moment, but it's going to take a couple minutes. So please come back at 3 p.m. to see the state of my water and to see how gross it really is now. And now that you've seen it and you understand there are invisible pollutants, visible pollutants, and everything that we need to get out of it to get it clean and back to a neutral pH balance, I challenge you guys at home to make a water filter out of stuff that you can find in your house. Think about stuff like sand, rocks, porous paper, things like you've seen me use, or anything that you think will have a small hole that water can slide through and its pollutants can't. So my challenge again to you, make a water filter at home, and I want to see what you guys come up with. Because I know you geniuses at home will come up with something cool, and I want to see it. So don't forget using that hashtag StayCuriousCLE. All right, guys, thank you so much. And don't forget to clean up your space when you're done. And make sure you have supervision for getting your dirty water and building your filters. And then Wash your hands thoroughly when you're finished and clean everything up just like I'm about to do. All right, thank you guys. And don't forget, stay curious.